What's good, everybody? It is a cold, wet Monday, and you all know exactly what that means. We have yet another creepy tale coming to you, family. This one may leave you in chills, or better yet, hungry for more. It is known by the vampire in the taxi. I hope you goblins enjoy. It was my first night driving a taxi. It was late, and there were not a lot of people on the street. I was just about to go home, but I was hailed by a man in a dark street. He wore a dark colored coat, collars up, and his hat was pulled low over his eyes as if he didn't want anyone or anything to see his face. He got into the back of my cab, and I pulled off and started driving down the street. My passenger in the back leaned forward and tapped me on the shoulder. I screamed and almost lost control of the cab. I nearly hit a bus, drove up on the curb, and stopped just inches from a large plate glass window. For a few minutes, everything was silent in the cab. Then, still shaking, I said, "I am sorry, but you scared the living daylights out of me." I stared at him in the rearview mirror. His head was a silhouette against the back window. I couldn't see his eyes, just a black shadowy shape where his face should be. My passenger apologized profusely, saying that he didn't realize a tap on the shoulder could be so scary. No, I said. It is all my fault. This is my first day driving a taxi. For the last 25 years, I've driven a hearse. Where was it you wanted to go? The man in the back just said North Cemetery. I drove him there in silence, and when we got there, he got out of the cab and told me to wait. "And if you don't, you'll be sorry," he said. Well, I didn't feel very comfortable, but I wanted the money, so I decided it would be a good idea to go ahead and wait. So we drove, and when we got there, the same thing happened again. He told me to wait for him. I was feeling more and more uncomfortable, but I waited. I wondered, what could he be doing in the cemetery so late at night? What business could he possibly have there? He returned to the car, brushing something from his clothes. I didn't ask him any questions. He returned to the darkness of the back seat and seemed to be wiping something from his mouth. When he was done, he just said, "East Cemetery," and step on it. Although very frightened, I was determined to get my money. My curiosity began to get the better of me, and despite my fears, I was determined to see what he was doing. So this time, I followed him into the dark cemetery. I tiptoed behind him, stepping softly through the long grass and the muck. I watched him as he walked silently among the headstones. He seemed to be looking for one in particular. He came to a fresh grave, then fell to his knees and used his hands to scrape and dig at the earth until he got down to the coffin. I was barely breathing, afraid he wouldn't hear me. I was terrified, but I couldn't run away. My legs felt like dead weight, and I was rooted to the spot. I saw him open the coffin lid, and as he bent over the coffin, I could see inside it. I caught a glimpse of the sunk features of a fresh corpse lying in the open coffin, motionless. I was so terrified I couldn't move in darkness. Then the man stood up. Perhaps he heard me breathing. Maybe he heard the gravel crunch underneath my toes. He came straight towards me, quickly, almost running, but it didn't seem like running. It was as if he was gliding fast and silent over the grass. In seconds, he was upon me, grasping my shirt and pulling my face close to his. I smelt his terrible, decaying breath. I saw something dark and sticky dribbling from his mouth. I managed to stutter. "Are you a vampire?" "Yes," he screamed as he sank his fangs into my neck. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I didn't see that end coming, did you? Stay creepy, stay weird, stay elevated. I will see you next time, family.